Welcome to another video from East Beds Bushcraft, the home of #survival.
Greetings bushcrafters and survivalists, it's Buzz here and we are in the Storatorium. Still got a lot of work to do in here. I've got all sorts of stuff I need to sort out, but as I promised, I'm doing my first of my noodle reviews now. It was my son who kind of said, "Dad, you ought to do a noodle review." Because let's face it, if you're a bushcrafter, if you're a wild camper, if you are a prepper, I think everybody enjoys their packets of instant noodles, whatever they happen to be. And it has to be said that there is a vast array of packet noodles, and some are good, some are bad, and that's kind of the journey I want to go on with this. It's a kind of a bit of fun, I know, but there are lots of noodles out there and they're not always great, and I'm hoping that you guys will feed back to me, you know, if all of you ladies and gents out there will feed back and tell me if you've got a particular packet noodle that you think is like the pièce de la résistance, and you say this is what you should be taking while camping with you, this is what you should have in your preps, because let's face it, noodles are great for preppers because they last for a hell of a long time. I've got noodles in my preps that are probably, well, out of date, but I still use them, eat them, and they're always exactly as expected. But anyway, without further ado, as they say, let's start off. Right, so I'm doing these videos in the Storatorium, and I know health and safety is one of these things, and I've got a huge array of cookers to start with, because obviously we need to cook or boil our water, and so I'm just using one of these simple gas canister ones. You just slap the gas canister in it, and I know a lot of people give these ones a bad rap, so to speak, because they're cheap and cheerful. However, I find them very useful if I'm doing events with my wife. It's just something that we can just chuck straight into the tent, into the kitchen area, and the thing is, when I wake up in the morning, I just want my coffee, you know. I mean, okay, if I've got an open fire going, I'm at camp, yeah, I'm going to use the open fire, but if I'm at an event and I'm on a plastic camp and you just want to get that kettle going, one of these just does the job. You don't have to even think about it. Don't even need matches because it's got a piezo lighter. So I'm going to use that. The other thing is, I always, when I'm out in camp, I generally use my Crusader for cooking and eating out of. I've got loads of different flangiers, I've got saucepans and pans and pots. I'm going to do all these ones wherever the super type of noodles are, because we'll get that in a minute. I'm going to be doing them using this. On this particular cooker, you can't really use the Crusader because it sits right over the vents. So what I've done is, if you are familiar with those type of barbecue things, I don't know what you'd actually call them, but they open up and you can put your sausages, your burgers in, and then they clamp together and you can flip them over on your barbecue. Well, I got a small one of these. I've got loads of these around. I got a small one of these, which, funny enough, is absolutely the perfect size for this cooker and creates a lovely stand for the Crusader on said cooker. So there you go. So anyway, without further ado, you've already looked at the title of this video. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about Super Noodles. I thought, where should we start? You know, there's some big names out there when it comes to noodles in the UK. Probably two that spring to mind. We'll talk about the other one probably in the next video. But Super Noodles. I was in the supermarket the other day and I thought, okay, let's just grab these, because it says it. It says it's the nation's favourite. That's a bold statement. The nation's favourite. And I had a few different choices of flavours, so we may well return depending on what the flavour is. I might find one flavour is good and one flavour is awful. I don't know. This is the whole thing about this. This is barbecue beef flavour, and I like a bit of barbecue beef, so I'm not going to complain about that. So anyway, let's get on with this. Firstly, let's put our water on. So it says in the instructions on here, it says add half a pint of boiling water. Okay, so we need half a pint of boiling water, which in the Crusader is just underneath where the half a litre is on there. So let's put the gas on, let's light that up. You see, so easy. And for those people that are going to start saying, what about carbon monoxide poisoning? You're going to suffocate yourself in the Storatorium. I do have the window open, and I don't think I'm going to suffocate, to be honest with you. And I've had people I remember this one time, I've got so many tents, and one of my big old frame tents is a 1970s, probably manufactured about 1975, orange and brown, floral pattern design curtains, if you can imagine it. Those people are sort of my age. Frame tent, and it's an 8-berth, and I was out in that. I had the front rolled up, and I had a firebox out the front. I had charcoal in there. Checked with the campsite. Yes, we can have an off-the-ground barbecue, not fire. Heat plate on the grass to protect the grass. Got that going, sitting there, just absolutely loving this lovely evening around that. And in charges a guy across the field. No! Stop! What are you doing? You're going to suffocate. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Blah blah blah. Honestly, yeah, that is something that we do have to take seriously. People do that to themselves when they're in little tents, which are nylon tents with fixed-in ground sheets. There's no ventilation, and the whole thing becomes a gas chamber. Do not do it. Okay, but in a well-ventilated area, not a problem. So hopefully you won't tell me off for using this gas cooker in the storatorium. Anyway, it says the initial instructions. This is the other thing, you see. I thought, well, when you're at camp, I tend to be a little bit lazy, if you like, because I'll stick the noodles in the water, or I'll boil the water, add the noodles, let them soak, and eat them willy-nilly. But I thought, in these reviews, I'm going to have to probably stick with the manufacturer's recommended way of cooking it as best as I can, as if I'm on, a campsite, because that way they could always say, well, you didn't cook it right. You're saying it is good, you're saying it's bad, but you haven't done what the instructions said. So I'm going to try and stick to the instructions where I can. So the instructions for Super Noodles, the nation's favourite, says add noodles to half a pint of boiling water. Well, the water isn't boiling yet, but we're getting there. It doesn't take long to boil half a pint. So while that does that, do you know, I had some water around here. I do not know what I did with my bottle of water that I was going to have. Oh well, that's just wandered. Anyway, so bring water to the boil, and then put the noodles in the boiling water, and then bring it back to the boil. It says. Add the flavour sachet. So there's a flavour sachet in here, and then it says reduce the heat to simmer for 4 minutes. Now this is why I mentioned about doing something on camp, because if I'm using an open fire, it's difficult to simmer. You've got to bring it off the edge of the coals, trying to reduce the heat. If I was using, say, a Trangia Meths cooker, you really don't have the option to, adjust it for simmer mode. Some Trangias, I think they have a little slide on the top that you can do it, but frankly, it's whatever. But that's why I chose the gas, because we can turn the gas down. Right, it's coming along. So should we open this? It's also interesting. It says, okay, simmer for 4 minutes until the water is absorbed, and then serve immediately and enjoy the nation's favourite noodle. It doesn't actually say that, but it does say it on the front. It also says serves 1 as a tasty snack, or 2 as part of a main meal. So this could serve 2 people as part of a main meal. Right, see, that got up to a boil really quickly. Now it doesn't say anything about breaking the noodles up. Another factor that we could bring in that can cause controversy. Okay. So the water is boiling, and I'm putting the noodles in. There we go. Have my spork, so we can slowly, as they soften up, that should descend. Right, we've got some more bits in there. There you go. Let's bring this down, just in case. Glove. Okay, because we need to get these noodles in. It says get the noodles in the water and bring back to the boil, which that pretty much is there. Should be going well. Add the flavour sachet. In goes the barbecue beef. Wow, that had a slight reaction there because it caused it to overboil. And we want to turn this down to a simmer. There we go. Right, so we're down. Now we want to do this for, it says the manufacturer's instructions, 4 minutes. We're already in our 4 minutes, so let's see. Boom. 4. Timer. Bingo. Right, we're going. I have no idea what sound that my phone's going to make when it gets to 4 minutes. But we're simmering it for 4 minutes. I think we're fair to say that, you know, the noodles are not broken apart much. Always make sure that you have leather gloves or a cloth around. I have the cooker on top of a ceramic. I've got ceramic tiles on this wooden table, just in case. So there we go. So we have 1 sachet, and I always like to fold these up, make sure that they go back home in the bin, never to be seen again. There you go. I like to compact my rubbish down if I can. Right, so we shall now fast forward this video because we've still got 3 minutes to go. And there we have it, 4 minutes officially by the phone. Let us turn off the gas. Now, the other thing is these are going to be boiling hot right now, so I may well not be eating them straight away. Let's just initially have a look. Make sure you don't pick up a hot Crusader cup without wearing something on your hand. Right. Okay. So, they're looking good. Smelling good. Do you think that they are the nation's favourite noodles? Are you a Super Noodle fan? You know, do you have your favourite Super Noodle flavour? If you do, stick it down in the comments because I can always come back and try a different flavour depending on how I find these. So what we're going to do is we're going to now fast forward or flash forward to when these are actually at an edible temperature. Okay, so I've been waiting for these to cool down a little bit because they are rather hot. Handle's fine, don't need the old glove now, but they are still retaining their heat quite a lot. So let's have a look. Right, so consistency. Okay, there's still some juice in there, some water. What I call, okay, because you're getting used to be calling this the noodle soup. Okay, because when I do noodles, not with all noodles, but some of them you kind of enjoy the noodles twice. Okay, you obviously eat the noodles, but it generally then leaves you with what I term the noodle soup, which you can drink afterwards, and then usually finish off the last couple of noodles. There goes Zach going past, bless him. So then you can finish off eating the noodles. There's always some noodles in the bottom. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, you can sometimes, some of the packets of seasoning, you can get a bit sort of gritty at the bottom, so we shall see. So I'm kind of looking at these noodles for the consistency and taste of the noodle, but also the noodle soup. Okay, so let's have an initial taste, but while I eat these, I'm going to speed this up because you don't want to sit here and watching me eating a bowl of noodles for however long it takes. Anyway, so I like a good mouthful of noodles. They are good, solid noodles. They're kind of slimy. I like a noodle that's got a little. It's a little firm, maybe. They're not hard, but is biteable. You know, these are kind of slimy. You know. Okay. I mean, they're definitely, they taste as if you're eating maybe a packet of beef flavoured crisps. I wouldn't say necessarily barbecue beef. It hasn't got that smoky flavour to it. Certainly beefy flavour, but it's not very strong. It's not you know, overpowering. They're all right, but I'll say they've got a sort of a, I know it sounds stupid when I say a wet consistency because they've just been boiled in water, but they're a little bit sort of gelatinous, if you know what I mean by gelatinous. Yeah, I mean, I left them for probably 5 minutes before we started coming back to eat them. Because it said serve immediately and enjoy. I mean, serve immediately. Well, you're going to burn the roof of your mouth off if you're eating them as soon as you've turned the cooker off. So, you know, you can't complain that I've had to leave them to cool down a little bit. Anyway, let's crack on and see what I feel at the end of this. Okay, so we're back. Now I'm left with, I don't know if you can see in this, I can see in the camera, I'll bring it there, can we see? I don't know. Bring it further back, there you go. There is some noodle soup in the bottom there, with some noodles still in it. That's quite pleasing. You always want to have a bit of that noodle soup left in order to sort of flush the last of the noodles out of the cup. Well, so what do I think? Super Noodles, are they the nation's favourite? I don't know. I don't think they're my favourite. The noodles, there was a good helping. Okay, so you got, you know, if you're feeling like you want a snack and you want a quick snack and just want to slap on some water and have your noodles, then yeah, fine. You know, that keep you going for a little bit. It was a decent helping, but they were kind of slimy noodles. Beefy, you know, definitely, but it's like, I think I've had more beef out of a spoonful of Bovril or an Oxo cube. Certainly no spice to it. It's just like some soggy, wet, gelatinous noodles that taste like a standard packet of beef crisps. There you go. If that is the nation's favourite, then I'm quite amazed at that. That's quite a bold statement from Bachelors, the manufacturers. But anyway, let's rate these noodles out of 10. 10 is something that just hits everything for me. So the noodles are the great consistency, the flavour is knockout. The noodle soup is you know, an extra bonus to drink. It's not too much of a faff to make them. Job done. Right, okay. 10 would be amazingly good. 1 is going to be the lowest of my scores when it comes to noodle reviews, and that is just something that I just think should go, I've wasted my time cooking it and it needs to go in the bin. So Bachelor's Super Noodles, the nation's favourite. As far as buzz is concerned, and this is my opinion only, you may feel different, I'm going to give them a 4, and I think I'm being generous. The flavour is, yeah, the consistency of the noodles is, yeah. I think they've gained a point above getting a score of 3 simply because there was quite a nice block of noodles there, so you know, you had a good serving. But as far as the barbecue beef Super Noodles are concerned, you're getting a 4 out of 10. If you think different, let me know. If you've got any recommendations for noodles you'd like me to review, please put it in the comments and I'll do my best over time to review them. As for now, thanks for watching and I shall catch you in the next one.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video and subscribe to the East Beds Bushcraft channel. See you all again soon.